Greetings, y'all. Hip Gregory here, and Joe Biden, he is done. He's cooked. He's finished. I know you all saw the performance at the presidential debate where it went terrible. I mean, this man could even finish his thoughts. He couldn't even complete sentences. The cognitive decline was on full display. There's nothing that is a surprise. I mean, we all can see the the cognitive decline that's been going down, but the mainstream media, they would deny it, or they would say, well, what about Trump? Or they would say, behind the scenes, this man is a real dynamo. Well, after that performance, if you want to call it that, after the debate, nobody can deny it now. Even MSNBC and CNN, they're saying it. Joe Scarborough, who's a good friend of Joe Biden, he's saying it. Even Nancy Pelosi has said it. And there's calls for him to drop out is becoming louder and louder, and he will have to drop out. They just can't pull him, to say. So he would have to willingly drop out. And according to reports, he's considering it, but in the press, in front of people, he's saying that he's going to stand. Um, and supposedly that his family is urging him, or they're supporting him to stay in the race. People like Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, and a donor. This guy said he loves Joe Biden. He asked. This was after the debate. He said he asked Joe Biden a question, and the man just froze. And Joe Biden whispered in his ear, and he just repeated what Joe Biden said. So because his performance was so bad, it makes you wonder. Well, at this level, who is the president right now? Who is really running things? Kind of like when Dianne Feinstein was in the Senate and she couldn't remember things that she just said an hour earlier. So who is really making these decisions? Is it Joe Biden? Is it that why she wants him to stay in for her greedy, selfish motivations? She probably has more power now than she ever before. Hunter Biden, maybe he wants a pardon for Joe Biden. He recently got found guilty. Joe Biden said in the past he wasn't going to pardon him. So it's just, and the cabinet, whoever, this is really embarrassing for the whole country, really, but especially for the Democratic Party to roll this man out there. You got to consider this elderly abuse because if I can see it, you know that they can see it. They see it close up and every day. For you to push this man out there like that, and you must be wanting to save your job, because if he gets put out, then you lose your job too. Selfish motivations, but this is very embarrassing for the United States, the richest country in the world, and this is the best that you got to go up against the big bad mean Donald Trump, and his performance was so bad, and he had some gas after that. I mentioned about the donor. He said on the black radio station that he was the first black female vice president. You know what he meant to say, but he can't afford to be messing up like that And the bar was very low for him in the beginning for his performance, and he failed miserably. And how did we get here? Like, we shouldn't even be in this position. Do you know that Joe Biden, when he won the election, the plan was for him to only do one term? That's what was originally the plan. And so, with that in mind, it is even worse that you didn't have a backup plan, that you didn't have a real primary, that you didn't have Democratic debates. If you did all that stuff, maybe somebody would be in place to pick up the mantle and come in, instead of y'all scrambling now at this late hour to try to figure out what you're going to do. Um, Joe Biden said recently that he got to go to bed at 8 o'clock. Like, not knocking nobody who goes to bed early like that, but I don't think you can be the president of the United States and go to bed at 8 o'clock. Who's going to be the president at 8:30, 8:45? I mean, the debate itself was at 9 o'clock, so he was going past his bedtime. Maybe that's why he performed so badly. This is sad. This is sad that we even having this conversation. Like, for us to even be talking about this, meaning that this man is unfit to be the president of the United States. In fact, 80% of they did a poll. 80% said that this man is unfit to be president, and it's not like Joe Biden was killing it before this debate, before the cognitive decline accusations came up, because he has been, and I want to say that the Democratic Party, they're not listening to the people. I mean, we've been yelling at you for a while now, saying the cognitive decline, you don't want to listen. He's lost support among the black community. He lost support among the Latino community. 4 years ago, Joe Biden's approval rating with Muslim Americans was at 59%. Today it's at 17%. Um, he's lost 30% with the youth. This is how the Democrats win elections, through black, Latino, and the youth. And this man is doing poorly in all three categories. This man is, it seems obvious that this man is going to lose the election. I mean, his approval rating last year, 4 years ago when he won the election, was at 52%. Now it's at 36%. They say he's losing in all of the swing states. They say he's losing in New Jersey. Democrats always win New Jersey. This man is obviously going to lose. Why don't you just hand the presidency to Donald Trump? I mean, and we're going back to how he was only supposed to serve one term, because Kamala Harris, you're gonna hear her name more and more about, taking up the place. She's taking place for Joe Biden. She's the vice president. But initially, there was reports that she was upset because her name wasn't being floated out there enough, and she's willing to use the race card, saying that they don't want to pick her just because she is black and she's a woman. Well, and I'm not a big fan of Kamala Harris. I think she's disingenuous, like a lot of politicians actually. But she has gotten the short end of the stick. She has gotten played out to a certain extent. Because even before this, they were talking about replacing her and keeping Joe Biden on the ticket. They some columnists floated out Hillary Clinton replacing Kamala Harris. God, please no. Um, People like Bill Maher, for instance, he's not the only one, but saying that identity politics is over. The only reason Joe Biden picked her is to get the black vote. Okay, that's true, but you know what? You know what? The only reason Barack Obama picked Joe Biden is to get the white vote, but there was no problem with that. Donald Trump picked Mike Pence to get the evangelical vote, but that identity politics, no problem. But when it's a black woman who gains from it, now it's a problem. Um, and if you remember the primary 4 years ago, it was Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were going at each other the most. They're the one who butted heads the most, and then that's who we picked to be the vice president. I remember I thought she was going to call him a racist at one time when she brought up how he was against busing students, and then after Bernie Sanders, he won the first three primaries, and then Joe Biden won South Carolina, and then reportedly Barack Obama told all the moderate Democrats to drop out of the race and they would be rewarded with cabinet positions. And all of them dropped out. Kamala Harris, who became the vice president, Amy Klobuchar, who has a position in the cabinet, Pete Buttigieg, who was the transportation secretary, they all dropped out and put their support with Joe Biden. While the only other progressive, um, Elizabeth Warren, she stayed in the race to the bitter end, splitting the vote somewhat, and even slandered and lied on Bernie Sanders' name. I wonder if she was promised something for her, her efforts to stay in that race like that. She's not in Joe Biden's cabinet, so if it was that, then she got played out too. Um, but the plan was that they were supposed to he's supposed to do one term, and they will put Kamala Harris in a position to be the next president of the United States. Well, it hasn't gone that way. Vice presidents usually they really don't have much power, if any at all. And there have been some examples of that not being like Dick Cheney. He had a lot of power under Bush, unprecedented power for a vice president. Joe Biden may have been a little bit more powerful than other vice presidents, but usually vice presidents don't really got any power at all. It's like a token position in a way. Well, what did they put Kamala Harris in? Over her name over, they put her over the border, which was a lose-lose situation. No matter what they did, in my opinion, if they would have let everybody in, people would have hated her. If they would have kept everybody out, people would have hated it. And the way this administration has handled the border policy has been terrible. So that looks bad upon her, even though it's not particularly her fault. And in contrast to that, somebody like Pete Buttigieg, who was the transportation secretary, they passed the Infrastructure Act, giving money to build the roads and the bridges, and that makes him look good, even though he didn't really have much to do with that, if any at all. So, and I think that was done on purpose, sabotage to Kamala Harris. She has not looked happy since being the vice president. Sometimes she be missing in action. I haven't seen her in a while. Um, and but so she got the short end of the stick. Like I said, I'm not big on her. She did some ad recently, which was mad cringe worthy. She was sitting with Taraji P Henson, and in the ad, she says that we out here in these streets and they not like us. Clearly pandering to the black vote. Like, I mean, I don't believe that you talk that way, and like, I feel like you're trying to play black people. Taking we're not slow. Um, I will put this in the same category as Hillary Clinton going on the Breakfast Club talking about she eat hot sauce. So there's that. So, but no matter, I'm 99% sure that whoever they picked is not going to be somebody that I approve of. But at this point, anybody has got to be is better than Joe Biden. And the the thing about this, I remember 4 years ago that when Bernie Sanders was running, they the message out there to the progressives, to the Bernie supporters was that we know you like Bernie, but it doesn't matter. The most important thing is to beat Donald Trump, and um, the best person to do that is Joe Biden. Even though I didn't really uh, believe that or accept that, Joe Biden ended up he did beat Donald Trump. So why isn't it 4 years later? Don't you have the same energy? Why is it now Biden the bus? You said this is the most important election ever. Democracy is on the line. We got to keep Trump out, and uh, Project 2025. And so, with that being true, and that being the case, shouldn't you have the best candidate possible to go up against Donald Trump? But yet, you got the weakest, most vulnerable candidate to go against Donald Trump. Your words say one thing, but your actions say another. Do you really want to beat Donald Trump? Are you trying to have him win? It's the hypocrisy is crazy. And then when this man loses the election, then they're gonna blame everybody else. They're gonna blame the black folk. Watch what I say. But Joe Biden, please, I'm begging you, drop out of the race. Do it for America. Do it for democracy. Put America first. Drop out with your punk ass. Peace.